God will tell you secrets that will change your life. The second thing that being alone with God does is that it takes you to a place of consecration. That's where God starts to reveal to you who you are called to be and what you are called to do. Mary was not in a singles women's fellowship when they called her and said the angel called her. She was alone. There are times where God needs to speak to you about deep things. He needs to isolate you. When God was going to tell Mary how she was going to be a part of changing the world, he spoke to her alone. He did not call family meeting. He did not call her parents and say, oh, she's underage, so let's have this conversation. I need to use your daughter. Then they say, oh, great God and mighty King, can we negotiate? She's just a young child. Then the mother will be crying, oh, you want to destroy our child's destiny. God said, none of that. I don't have time for that. Called the girl alone and told her, this is what you are going to do. This is what's going to happen. In the secret place. And she said, I am the Lord's handmaiden. Be it unto me according to your word. In that secret place, without permission from anybody, she consecrated herself. There and then. It's in that secret place that God will show you what you're called to do. Look at Jeremiah. Let's read that scripture. Jeremiah 1. Give me from verse 4. Please, can you give it to me on this screen? Reading it here makes me feel dizzy. Here. Thank you. It says, the word of the Lord came to me. This is Jeremiah saying. He didn't say the word of the Lord came to us. So a lot of times when people say things like, oh, I want to be able to say God spoke to me, you have to spend time with him for him to speak to you. It says, the word of the Lord came to me saying, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I appointed you as a prophet to the nations. Next verse. Alas, sovereign Lord, I said, I do not know how to speak. I am too young. This is him talking. So you see, there's conversation. When you're alone with God, you can spend time. You can be vulnerable. You can be yourself. There are things that you cannot say in crowd prayer, group prayer meeting, that you can say when you're alone. When God says, I want you to do something, you say, God, I no go fit to make a new life for you. But when you are among people and they're saying, God is saying us, you say, it's a lie. You know that you cannot. But when it's only you and God, you say, God, no go for him. See, no for your hand, sir. Sir, look at Pastor K, send him me. You know, go walk, go. And then see what he answered him. He said, but the Lord said to me, do not say I am too young. You must go to everyone I send you to and say whatever I command you. Next verse. Do not be afraid of them, for I am with you and I will rescue you, declares the Lord. Next verse. Then the Lord reached out his hand and touched my mouth. See, there are personal encounters that only happen in secret places. He says, I have put my words in your mouth. From that point on, Jeremiah's ministry changed. From that point on, these things don't really happen in public meetings. I'm telling you. They may, but it's really in the secret place that you have this kind of divine encounters with God. Something happened to me yesterday. I woke up yesterday feeling a bit overwhelmed. And I noticed that there seemed to be that spirit hanging around a lot of people. It's too hard. Everything's too hard. But for me, I think it was the fact that I realized that I finally landed, right? And I now had the chance to be tired. I don't know if I'm explaining it right. You know, when you're traveling, preaching, doing adrenaline, all those things, you are helping people, you are blessing people, asking questions, you can't not even be okay. But I've been at home for like 2 weeks. Then I now realized that I can be tired. I can I'm done. Like, I'm tired. That's how I felt. I felt very overwhelmed yesterday morning. And then I didn't want to be anybody's wife, anybody's mother, anybody's I just wanted to cover my head and just lie down and feel sorry for myself. Why, I don't even know. But I was just exhausted. Maybe it was burnout. I don't know. I just felt like staying home and crying. And so now I had two options, right? I could feel that way, or I could just go and be with God. So I decided to be with God. So I said, God, see the way I'm feeling. I'm not really happy this morning. He said, get up and go and be a blessing to my daughter who is doing something so and so. I said, so I will dress up. I will do makeup. I will go to somebody's meeting. So are you hearing me? I said, I want to be depressed. I want to cover my body. I want to be sad. He said, get up, go and bless others. Do you know that, okay, I went and did all those things, and I felt better, of course. I did IG Lives explaining and all that. In fact, I was so ashamed of myself because when I got to set yesterday, I got on set for we were shooting Just Us Girls series. So when I got on set where they were shooting, they were doing praise and worship. So I said, they were really excited, making noise, hey! And I said, what happened? I said, what happened? They said, hey, our EP is here. I said, no, Jesus is your EP. What happened? Where people are hailing me, like they find money. And true to my words, they sent them a bill, a ridiculously, I don't want to talk about the money, let's forget it, but tens of millions. And they were praising because they didn't want to feel overwhelmed. Kai, I was so ashamed of myself. I said, see me where they preach. We got this, you got to do it, don't stop when you're. They were praising because they felt overwhelmed. Me, I wanted to stay at home and cry. So God sent me there to see that before I went to where he sent me to. And then when I was reading the Bible, I saw something that shocked me. Let me show you people. God of us now go shock that shock together. Matthew 14. Matthew 14. So what had happened here was Herod had captured John the Baptist and had beheaded John the Baptist. Now look at from verse 12. It says, so John's disciples came and took his body and buried it. Then they went and told Jesus. Now remember, John the Baptist was Jesus' cousin. And they were about age mates, right? So maybe like 6 months difference. So two of them must have been friends or something. They must have had, Jews, their family is kind of close-knit. It's not like our own where this family does not talk to this family. This one does not, this person's auntie did not give this person yam in those days. So our family, they don't do all those things. They go in, even when they are going, they travel in batches, all those kind of things. So they said when Jesus heard what had happened, he withdrew by boat privately to a solitary place. Honestly, I think that the reason why Jesus left was he was grieving. He was feeling a bit, this is much, right? This is my cousin who is like my forerunner. And now they've killed him. Maybe it triggered Jesus because Jesus knew he was also going to be killed. And so when Jesus saw this thing, he just went, he didn't feel sorry for himself. He went to go and talk to his daddy. And then he said, hearing of this, the crowds followed him on foot from the towns. Look at verse 14. When Jesus landed and saw a large crowd, he had compassion on them and healed their sick. Jesus left his own. I don't know whether his daddy said what he said to me yesterday morning, that stand up and go and be a blessing to others. The reason why you're feeling sorry for yourself is because you are thinking of yourself. The reason why you are feeling overwhelmed is because you think it's about you. So as I was leaving that place yesterday, and I was having a conversation with God, because like I said, you can be in a crowd and be alone with God. I was having a conversation with God and saying, I'm really embarrassed. See how these people are praising you when they are overwhelmed. Me, I want to be. And I said, I'm very, 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 very full of myself. What am I carrying that is overwhelming? What? That's how I started thinking. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? You want to cover your head. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? What are you even carrying? What are you carrying? Because the last I checked, you are being carried on eagle's wings. So Jesus went, he felt sad. He did not stay in that depression. You know how people say, feel your feelings. You have to unpack the feel. You have to feel. Jesus stood up and to go and talk to his father. Maybe the reason why you are depressed is because you are not alone with God. Just find time and spend time with God and you see that he will sort you out. He will clear up all those things.